Hello and welcome to our weekly dose of what's brewing in the space of blockchain, Web3, NFTs, and cryptos. And joining us today for the conversation is Mr. Ramkumar Subramaniam. He's CEO and co-founder at Guardianlink. Ram, hi, thank you so much for joining us. And clearly being in news because of one reason or the other. But I really want to dwell more about the NFT and gaming as a segment. Where do you see the numbers right now? Where are we compared to previous year? And how is Indian market really picking up?
Hi, thanks. It's good to be back. And NFT market is also back, right? So I think there is a huge growth in the NFT sector recently after Q1 of this year at least. People have seen very good projects come up with have a decent utility, right? So uh, all the hype has gone, and people have brought in proper use cases with NFTs that you buy. For example, the recent drop that Adidas did also, right? They were planning to give out a physical merchandise along with the digital NFT that came out. So I think the market is matured much before than we expected, right? Much before the crypto market is coming back. I think NFT is doing pretty well. One thing that is also coming up good is gaming, as you told, right? Digital assets is in gaming comes out very naturally. So where you're trying to prove the ownership on that by using NFTs, right? So I think it's a very natural transition. We've seen a lot of games, especially AAA games, coming on board and adopting NFTs. Over the next year or so, I believe there will be a lot of studios who have been on the Web2 space in the likes of EA and all that, trying to explore NFTs and coming on board. So we do see a huge growth in the next coming years.
Mm. Now, there was a report out which says that the metaverse gaming industry by 2025 could be $280 billion worth of a sector. Where do you see this growth coming in from? How does the Indian versus the international market look to you?
I think Web3 is borderless, right? Thanks to how it's structured, is very borderless, and we've seen a lot of innovations coming out from India, especially a lot of Indian brands as well, right? So the last few years, we saw brands like Viacom, whom we worked with, ITC, and a couple of other brands out of India, exploring this space and doing various activities around metaverse and NFT. And metaverse, I believe, would be more on exploratory phase, at least for the next a year or so, where people would have virtual events that they tried out before. Uh, Probably they would start trying out much more niche use cases. In fact, we're also talking to one of our FMCG based out of India, where they're exploring having a gallery of various products that they've built in the last 100 years, right? So, like that, there would be various experiments that will be done, and with the tech being much more better nowadays, I think, and 5G and all that coming in, we would see metaverse also in exploration through mobile devices, right? Much more mobile penetrated metaverses would come up. I think that will be the phase of metaverses in the coming next few months of this year.
Mm. Ram, also, how would you look at the industry being evaluated right now? I mean, as you said, there are investments being created. There are more brands coming on board too.
Yeah. So I think in investments in the space right now, pretty much similar to what is happening in other spaces as well, especially this is deep tech, right? So they want to probably understand how this would prevail in the coming few months and years. They're definitely looking at proper use cases and solid revenues, and also user growth as well. It is not anymore about potential, right? They would want to see current growth in revenues and user growth, and also what can become potentially if the market gets back much more better, right? So I think that's what is being explored nowadays, and people have understood the space much more better. In the
Yeah.
last year and a half, people have understood how this technology will evolve and what are the various use cases that can be achieved as well. So the overall knowledge of the space has become much better. So the investment also have been much more better choices that from the investor side.
Clearly. Let me also approach the subject from one more angle then, Ram. I mean, we do understand that there is as much money which the venture capitalists perhaps are looking at to deploy into various sectors, evaluating it, understanding the kind of returns and growth that these sectors will see. So, any sense that you get on what metaverse and blockchain is looking at vis-a-vis the other technologies?
So I believe AI is talk of the town nowadays. So I
Yes.
think there's been a lot of buzz around AI, and people have been starting to explore AI. that there was a debate that Web3 is being pulled down little and AI has been much more concentrated
Yes.
now. But I don't think that's the actual use case. People, if they see, especially venture capitalists, if they see a business adopting the best of technology and bringing in adoption and bringing in revenue and a business around that, and they make a change, they don't worry about what technology goes behind, right? Because they don't go behind the hype, they go behind the real use case that can be built out. I guess that's what venture capitalists are seeing nowadays. They want to see, as I told you, proper numbers, revenue, and what change you're making. And especially, we've seen gaming, NFTs along with gaming has been recently explored a lot by venture capitalists. And there's been a lot of investment that has been coming over in this space. A lot of investment has been gone back to infrastructure as well. There'll be a lot of layer two players who have raised funds, who are also looking at the next coming years to expand NFTs, crypto much more larger. So I believe infrastructure is still continuing to do well, and also gaming has picked up quite well.
I mean, since you mentioned that, and yes, there have been various debates, conversations, articles being written as well on how Web3 and AI, between the two of them, AI seems to be catching up much faster. So, is it AI versus Web3 or blockchain rather, or is it AI on blockchain? How are you guys really looking at this?
So even if you take a look at in one of our games that we're launching, that we've used AI to empower how our NFTs can be used much better in the game, right? We have AI powered cars that can be used in our Radix Metaverse game. So AI, I believe, is a bigger gambit. It can be used across multiple industries. We don't see it as AI versus blockchain. We probably see it how AI can be used within blockchain technologies like crypto, NFTs, and DeFi and all that. So I believe that's the best way to see that, and I don't think people do see it as AI versus blockchain as of now.
All right. Also, talk to us about the gaming industry just as it is, because that is one thing that the millennials seem to be lapping up. And within the overall sector, this is one which continues to run up, even as others seem to be struggling at some point or the other. What
Yeah.
is the kind of penetration that we've seen coming for India for this?
India, especially, I think will grow a lot because of 5G, right? 5G is catching up in India. Thanks to that, we will have more games that can be explored. All the devices are being much more powerful than before, and I believe streaming games and playing games through just streaming itself become much more bigger. And then using assets like NFTs and all that within the game also is growing a lot. India is catching up well on that. We've recently seen various gaming studios based out of India get into Web3. Pretty much, we've seen, as we saw in the last bull run, we've seen various industries, various firms from India exploring blockchain as infrastructure. I believe in the coming years, we would see NFTs and blockchain and crypto being used more on the consumer side of things. And especially gaming would become much more bigger, and we've seen a lot of bets happening in gaming industry as well in India, a lot of investments that have come in as well. So I guess that we will see the fruitfulness of in the coming years.
Hmm. I'll wind down the conversation with this final question. You mentioned earlier there was a boom time, and we saw so many developers, creators boom into India, and then there was this big lag, big gap down, which other sectors also saw. Now, would you call this phase as consolidation? You've said that already. Are new startups within the space also still mushrooming?
Yes, a lot of indie startups coming out of India are building games. One of our investors, they invest big on games, right? So Kalari invests big on gaming,
Yes.
and we've seen their portfolio itself. And there are so many indie studios and gaming studios from there who are building very interesting games, right? Games around Indian mythology, games around how you can bring in much more social adoption. So there's a lot of stuff that they're building. So I do see a lot of growth in this particular sector from India, and gaming for India has been a back-end player for various Western-based gaming studios, right? Because now we are facing towards the consumer side and building for B2C. I think that will grow in the next coming years.
Okay. I'll squeeze in one final question. Are you into gaming? Do you have a favorite game out there?
Me personally, yes. I've been into gaming for quite long, and my personal favorite right now, even though I'm being biased, it's our recent game that's going to come out, which is Radx. It's a Metaverse game. We are very excited about that.
Okay.
So we use NFTs and all that, and we brought in various brands inside these games as well, and we are bringing much more immersive experience. So I will wait for that. I hope my personal favorite now will become everyone's favorite. So let's see.
We will watch out for that too as well. Ram, thank you as always. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.